Peter Michael.
Patrick Bateman. We are back in the Communal Creative Studios. Back to Zoom.
Yes, we just got off a Zoom call, our first Zoom call since...
It's been a while.
Who was before Gordy? Sky Wallace.
Was it Sky Wallace?
Sky Wallace,
Okay.
yeah. Sky Wallace and Crownlands, right?
I think about that interview. I can't look at an RV now.
Yeah, I know. I think about that all the time. I also think about how, like...
I was actually going to send her a message because we were camping a couple of weeks ago, and I saw one that I thought was perfect. Like, there was, so if you didn't catch that episode, you put the word anal in front of the RV names.
And then you brought up, like, the only one that doesn't work.
Which was?
Northern Spirit.
Well, it was mine, was Northern Spirit. That's what we have is Northern Spirit. But I found the one that I thought was the best was there is a brand of, there was like a mallard, anal mallard. I'm like, well, there was a brand called Hornet.
Yeah, I saw one.
Anal Hornet.
I saw an unfortunate one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Predator.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Neither
so
one of them
I saw that and I
conjure
was
up
like,
good
I don't want to play this game anymore.
No. Thank you, Sky Wallace. Ruined RVs forever.
Yeah, so we just got off a Zoom call with our guests for today's episode, Danielle and Drew McTaggart.
McTaggarts.
From?
Vancouver.
Okay, cool. From Dear Rouge, who I love the fact that we got through an hour-long interview with Dear Rouge without bringing up the origin of the name.
Right. Or the fact of us asking the question, so you're married?
Yeah.
I mean, it does
What's
obviously
that
comes
like?
up because,
Yeah.
but
That's not, wait, standstills. Standstills are
also married.
Also, they have some sort of contract, yeah.
It's
sort of
a contract that was
ancient
signed
obligation.
with a cake close by.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
so that was, you know what, for our first Zoom interview back, because we've done 2 live interviews now.
So, if from a interviewing perspective, there's just nothing that beats being face to face with somebody. Like it's great.
There's been a couple interviews that I've tried where you are in the same room but you can't see each other. So you'd have like a giant, just a black box here. That's a lot of fun too.
Okay.
So we'll try that.
What conversations came up during that one?
Lots. I can't remember them. Face-to-face interviews are the best. I mean, we have had a lot of experience with Zoom interviews over the years. Before that, it would have just been a phone interview. Phone interviews suck.
Terrible.
The
worst. The worst.
I'd rather do a back and forth email chain than another phone interview.
Yeah.
But in terms of we've become better at Zoom interviews, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
And that was fine. That was totally great.
You are going to find that hopefully the next hour flies by for you as well.
Yeah, so Dear Rouge, as we were talking, literally 3 hours before the release of their first single in 3 years?
I guess
maybe
it would
almost 4?
Well, I don't think it would be 4.
I think that album was 18.
Yeah.
Anyways, a long time, and that single is out now. It's called Fake Fame. Check it out.
It's pretty awesome.
And, we know that because they just sent it to us. And you listened to it on your phone.
I had to listen
in
to
front
it real
of me.
quick.
That was a blast.
They're good. And, of course, Danielle is from the same city that we're in, and great connections there as well.
Nice to hear a little mention of the evolution of the scene and how not just Bo's Bar and Stage, but also Brennan, the mastermind, has played in that, I think is fair to say.
Build a pretty big, solid scene here.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll dig into that episode in just a minute. You were golfing today.
I did.
You normally have a not this shirt.
I don't have a white buffalo.
What's the badge? Innisfil Golf Club.
So
you were in golf and you work at the golf course.
That's times are tough, buddy.
You're a golf pro now?
I'm the guy that dives into the ponds to get the lost balls.
Yeah,
I do that job.
How was golf?
It was fun. It was good.
Would you even keep track of your score?
There's no point in me keeping score.
Below 90? Below 100? Okay, all right. Were you the worst one there?
I was definitely the worst one there.
Oh,
but
wow.
I had the best time because I don't care.
Right.
And everybody else gets frustrated and loses a ball and is like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll go buy another bucket of the used balls. And
was anyone frustrated? Was anyone uptight on the course today?
No, there was no frustrations, but I think I helped that with the comedy routine.
Okay, cool. Of you just doing Adam Sandler shots over and over again?
Yeah, and my shorts don't fit really well, so there's a lot of butt crack that gets going when you
How
swing.
do they even let you on the course?
I don't know.
What course was this that let you on there with your ass crack hanging out and your Adam Sandler
Lacombe
hockey
Golf
swing.
and Country Club. They, yeah.
Did you see our friends there today?
They actually, there's a brewery in Lacombe that kind of has the rights to that one, but Sawback is available at many other fine golf courses.
Very nice.
And there is nothing better. I always end up talking about the Hazy Blonde, but there's nothing better than a day on a golf course with a Hazy Blonde.
So you snuck one on. What about our other friends? Did you, by any chance, stop at a porta potty or a nice temporary toilet?
But I did actually. There was a foursome behind us, and I thought it was Dustin from Go Services for a minute because they were back a little ways, and the guy kind of looked a little similar to Dustin. So I was about to do something pretty stupid, and then I squint. I don't think that was Dustin, but I think, anyways,
cool.
Yeah. Dustin likes to get out and golf. I think we talked about that last time a little bit too. Lots of supportive different golf tournaments.
Yeah, for sure.
Around the area as well. Go Services Inc. And Tourism Red Deer.
Shout out to them as well. And then what else is going on? You were talking about Sturgill Simpson during this episode.
Yeah,
you love that album?
You roll your eyes.
Didn't like it.
What,
I mean, I didn't finish it. Does it get any? Is it the same?
Well, what are you looking for out of it?
I mean, I want him to start smashing shit. All right, I want him to smash his guitar on the ground at least for one song. Like, Sturgill 2-3 years ago.
So it's a straight up bluegrass.
It's just
album.
Straight up bluegrass.
Straight up bluegrass. I don't like the bluegrass.
I like it when it's in small doses. I don't need to listen to 13 tracks, 10 tracks.
It's pretty, but a couple of the songs are like 2 minutes long.
Right.
And how you hear a banjo twanging away and don't get a smile on your face, something's wrong with you.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to listen to it for 45 minutes.
There's others. Go back and give it a second listen. And it's a cool story, right? It's a story of a guy named Dude.
And the Dude, right?
Yeah, it's Dude and Juanita.
Okay.
And so they're I think it takes place Civil War-ish era, late 1800s. They fall in love. They have kids. It's kind of the setup of the first couple of songs. And then she gets stolen. He goes off on horseback with his dog.
What do you mean she gets stolen?
She gets stolen. He's out working the fields, too far away from his rifle.
Oh.
And somebody comes along and takes Juanita, and he has to chase after her with his horse and his dog.
So it's a concept album.
It's a concept album. Yeah, it's 100%. You got to give it another listen. I dig it.
I'll try. Just,
I like the bluegrassy stuff. I was going to ask you, it's a question I was asked somebody today, too. What's the last album you listened to from start to finish?
Well, I listened to a couple Dear Rouge albums this week. Let me see.
From start to finish?
Oh yeah, no, I usually do that.
Yeah.
I listened lately. Oh God, sorry. I listened to Explosions in the Sky album today from front to back. I listened to that Halsey record a couple times because it's pretty cool. The Hallucination. Listening to some Radiohead lately. Deaf Heaven, the new Deaf Heaven record. Deaf Heaven is like this, I think it's called Black Gaze, so it's like black metal, but there's a lot of real pretty stuff in there. And I remember being really into them a few years ago when we first started working together, and it was very heavy, very dark, very heavy, very loud at that time. But they just put out a record that is it's just this beautiful, it's a complete swerve. Absolutely unbelievable, and I'm a huge Explosions in the Sky fan, which is just pure, beautiful instrumental music.
Yep.
And it's reminding me of that. So yeah, that album from front to back, I've no joke, I've listened to probably 15 times in the last 2 weeks.
Which is great, and I think that's kind of the way. It's old school, right?
What about
Most
you?
people are just into singles and everything. Well, that Sturgill Simpson's been going quite a bit. This one is a little bit older, but my son was really into. I'm probably going to screw up the name. It's Wolfie. Wolfie Needs a something.
Wolfie Needs a what?
Wolfie. I got to look it up now.
Wolfie Need. What is
it's
this?
A Montreal artist.
Is this the new? Is this out of this blowing up trend of pop punk again?
No, not at all.
Okay.
This guy, apparently the guy's actually a stand-up comedian.
Oh, okay.
And does some music on the side as well. And I forget what the Wolfie. My son told me all about it. Wolfie's Just Fine.
Wolfie's Just Fine. That's the name of the artist.
The name of the artist, and I think the most recent thing out is 2018. But he's got a song, and I wish I could remember the name of the song, but part of the album, just the way the guy operates, is actually written from it's like a movie's perspective. He almost puts himself into the characters of. So he's got a song called Pigeon Lady, and it's about a character in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen. Home Alone. But right? Okay. So I think the song, if I remember correctly, was what the Pigeon Lady was doing 2 years after that scene from that movie.
And?
Well, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Was it sad?
That one was sad for sure. And then there's another song that he wrote where he puts himself into a Friday the 13th movie.
Oh.
And he falls in love with one of the kids that's at a camp and is devastated when Jason eventually ends her.
And the name, what's the name again?
Wolfie's Just Fine.
Wolfie needs a new name.
Wolfie needs a new name. Wolfie's Just Fine. I remembered, but then I forgot is the album title.
Okay, I'll check that out. That concept sounds very interesting.
You know what? It was.
So you're a big lyrics guy.
I'm terrible with remembering them, but yes, I do pay attention to that stuff.
I don't, which could be problematic some days. But anyways, I am excited to pay attention to the lyrics of this new Dear Rouge song because I haven't had a chance yet, and it sounds like based on this interview, this whole album, not just this one song, is going to provide context into Danielle and Drew themselves. So I'm excited
Which
about
is great
that.
because, again, you think of everything we've been through in the last almost 2 years.
Yep.
There's been a lot of self-reflection from a lot of people, so I think it only makes sense that this new album went down the path, and they are incredibly likable people.
Yeah.
This is a fun chat.
Guys, you look comfy.
I feel like we should have worn. Well, oh no, I'm the only one without a hat. Never mind.
Where's your hat?
True now.
Where's your Padres hat, Drew? I was going to give you a hard time for wearing that damn Padres hat all the time.
Oh man, I you know what's funny is I like San Fran. I had a San Fran hat for a long time. Padres. My neighbor has someone who's drafted by the Padres, and I love the brown look.
Okay,
but I actually be happy to see them go far. Unfortunately, against your team, but through and through, we're Jays fans.
Don't be mad at us.
I'm not mad at all.
You were telling me the other day the Jays have a chance. Is that true?
Well, it's so funny. We just did our last episode was with Jay from USS. And
nice.
And he knows I'm a ball fan, so we were driving over to the podcast. He's like, so did the Jays really have a chance? And at that point, even like 4 days ago, I was like, you know what? I don't really think so. But then, boom, all of a sudden, they're winning like crazy. All the other teams around them are losing. And the Jays have a legit shot.
They played 8 games in the last 4 days.
That's how baseball
and up
works.
Their chances. Right, very cool, very cool.
Yeah, September and October, beautiful, beautiful season for baseball.
And you guys have been to lots of Jays games for sure. But have you been down to Padres games at all then, or?
Yeah, I've been to Padres game. And,
when did you go, Drew?
Before you.
Oh.
Whoa.
We go down to states like everyone in Vancouver. They go south, down the coast all the time. So, going to see Padres, Angels, Dodgers, all the time.
Yeah, it's honestly
Jealous?
So jealous. Like it's the part that sucks about being a baseball fan out in Alberta. There's just nothing close, right? You're 12 hours away from Seattle. You're 16 hours away from Denver if you're going to drive to a game.
Sylvan Lake has a pretty nice baseball field now.
Sylvan Lake does have actually a pretty nice ball stadium now.
One thing that people underestimate about the Lower Mainland here in Vancouver is that we are actually like the area where most of the Canadian ball players come from. There's so many great ball players. I used to play ball. I was never that good. I played rep for 1 year, but I got to play with Laurie and Lowen, and though they're cool because they're in the bigs, and it's such a special baseball market for not being around. But Seattle's only an hour and a half to 2 hours, right? So, we go down all there. We go to Seattle.
You guys just need to make a special trip to when COVID's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And that ballpark in Seattle is amazing.
Vancouver's got
Vancouver's got what they don't. It's not the PCL's not there anymore, is it? The Canadians are.
No, they have Jays. They have Jays Single A.
Single A. Okay.
Farm team, the Vancouver Canadians, and it's pretty popular. But it's the funny thing is about Vancouver is like, when you're living in a city, and now because like the media is just absolute bonkers. It's like when the Oakland A's, when they couldn't have they weren't re-signing this year, then it talks about the potential cities of Major League Baseball teams.
Yeah.
And of course, a Vancouver podcast or Vancouver like blog will throw something up there, and it comes in my feed because they know I follow baseball. But I'm like, I read it. I'm like, the Oakland A's aren't going anywhere. They're not like they're a franchise that's like pretty established. They'll find a building or something, and Vancouver would be a long shot. I just always get frustrated because I like see the headline. I'm like, oh wow, click it, read first paragraph. I'm like, what am I doing? There's no chance.
Well, and there was all that talk too about I think was it Miami or Tampa Bay was going to share with Montreal. They're going to do half the games in Montreal and half the games in Florida. Was
Really?
kind of the chat for a while. So, I'm with you. I don't see it happening. I can't imagine Vancouver ever gets an MLB team as cool as that.
Hey, they
would
got
be,
a
but-
soccer team. They can get a
it's
baseball
true. We
team
got a
one
soccer
of these
team.
days.
How long did the NBA team last for there?
Forgot about
I think it lasted like 4 to 7 years.
Oh, well,
maybe.
that's more than I thought it was.
It was crazy. We used to we were on, like, when the Grizzlies came to Vancouver, it was massive. I was in high school, like early high school, so it was just nuts, right? Like, it was just like insane after having hockey the whole time. But I'm really sad. I think they would be a great basketball market if they were able to not lose.
Do you still have old school Grizzlies merch? Have you still got like those? Because that was like the
It's pretty hipster.
like
All the kids.
the starter jackets. I think would have been big around then. Yeah.
Yeah. You see them. You don't see them in sports stores. You see them in like Urban Outfitters.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah,
little
exactly.
kids.
So what's going on? You
All right,
guys you're having a fun Thursday night, just counting down the clock, or what?
Yeah, it's,
we are beers in hand. It's a beautiful day out.
Yeah, we're really excited to be actually releasing something and doing something. Feels like it's been a really long time for us, but also just the world stood still. So now it feels like there's some movement. And yeah, releasing the song is definitely like a line in the sand that we get to cross where we're like, yes, like finally.
3 more hours.
I was just gonna say, like, we're recording this just mere
Yeah.
hours away from the release. So, what's the rest of the night look like for you guys? Do you just sit on pins and needles and wait for it to?
Kind of. I've had butterflies in my stomach for the whole week for many reasons, but the main reason being this. And like we're doing an exclusive show of like our music video at like a private show tomorrow. So we're like,
cool.
Billy Idol's going to be there tomorrow.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah.
yeah, it's his private
thing.
gig. So
Metric and Sir Sly. It's pretty wicked.
yeah, but we're doing this. They were amazing, and we're friends with the people who planned it, and they're fans of Dear Rouge, and so they were like, "Oh my gosh, you guys should show your exclusive, like your fake fame, because it's coming out the day of our festival." So we've just been like on our like email all day trying to like sort out the title on the video and all the credits and everything, and try to finish it like D-Day style.
There's a million things that happen when you're putting out a single, and especially the first single, because it's like new album cycle, new look, new everything.
Yeah.
And you're just like going nuts, and then all of a sudden you release it and you're like,
Ah!
and on the streaming services, I don't think they give you stats till after the weekend.
Oh.
And, radio, we've had a few people at radio stations say that it's already added, which is really cool because that's rare for a band. And but honestly, the best thing we can do is like go chill this weekend, go hang out with Billy Idol, see if he can do a post for us and break our band.
Well, I have been digging the social media teases that you've been putting out. I still haven't heard the song. I don't think Pete has
I
either.
have not heard the song yet.
I just emailed you guys an hour ago with all the assets, so you'll have the song.
The link doesn't work.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Oh, what a tease, eh?
It's such a tease. Like, oh, good, yeah, we get. Oh,
But it's all good.
I don't add
You
more
said
stress on. Don't worry.
3
about
hours. 3
it.
hours.
We can wait 3 hours. It'll be worth it.
I'm rectifying this now.
That's such a Drew thing. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
He's really on point.
But how, so obviously you've got your team that does it, but how much work now goes into the social media side of things, right? Like you've got all, like you said, all new graphics and all that.
It's so funny that it's like kind of the beginning of the song was even around like just feeling like I'm going to be a rebel and like get rid of all the like social content stuff and just do that for a season. And it's just kind of ironic that the song kind of sits in that landscape of like the social world and how frustrating it can be. And that's kind of the theme. So it's like there's like a flip side of that. Drew's just emailing right now, so it's kind of confusing.
We like the clicking sounds.
Deep into the meaning of this song, he's like, "Can you send all the assets for Big?" Anyways, yeah. So it's ironic, but we're really enjoying making social media more of like, we're enjoying making it an art form rather than like a look what I did today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really fun that way. Like if you think of it as like a magazine and you're asking good questions and you're like putting yourself forward in the way that's like this is sweet to listen to and sweet to look at, and you want to get involved, then it's actually exciting. But yeah, we have people helping us out with that now. We have like a photographer that's been with us for like a couple of years now named Lindsay Blaine. Then we have somebody else named Alex, and we just all go back and forth and be like, hey, what can we post today that's like actually meaningful? And
I think the thing too, like with having extra help with us, is it allows us to get different perspectives, because sometimes people are like, with their own socials, they're excited to post stuff about themselves. And then there's other people who are like Danielle and I, like when we play a show, the last thing we want to do is go on our phone and look at all the photos of us. It feels weird. And then post about it, trying to act excited. So having those extra hands in the mix for us helps us, because they're like, this is really cool. And we're like, sure. Another post about us. And it's like, well, the band is you guys.
We like it though, because it is the community, and strangely the way the world is now. And so it's like, you kind of, when you get into it, it can be really fun, and you can have community there if you do it in the right way.
Well, and that is when you strip it right down to the basics of where it started. It was about community and keeping in touch, and those things are great. It's just unfortunately the seedy, ugly side of it has really kind of taken over.
It's true.
Totally.
Yeah, it's true. There's like definitely a flip side, and I think that's like the questions we're asking in this song is like, you can pay for all the stuff to look like you're popular. You can have all these things that, like, HBO did a whole documentary around this thing called fake fame, and how you can like basically pay to be famous. And we had already written that song, and we were like, man, that is crazy actually. Like, too bad it wasn't like flipped and our song could have been a part of that. But anyways, it was actually really strange to me that, like, wow, this is making this even more real. The fact that like I feel this anxiety around it, but it's often not even real. And how do I live in that landscape as like an artist and as a woman too? Because a lot of women get like famous from being like hot and like sexy. Like, actually, hot likes is a real thing.
Hot likes.
And just the whole thing, it just feels like, oh, it's just a pit. And I think a lot of humans now are like, this isn't human.
It's one of those things that everybody knows it exists, and everyone's like kind of fed up with in a way, but we all do it.
Yeah.
You know, you're all like, or if you're in a business or running a podcast, you need to use it. It's a valuable way to communicate. Like you said, the community, the intention of it is really cool, but it's just, especially during the pandemic, it kind of, as there's nothing else to do, it kind of reiterated how crazy that world is of the online social media world.
That must be super validating, though. You guys write this song, you put it together, you've got a pretty clear, succinct message that you think is important and valuable, and then HBO does a doc on it.
Yeah.
So you must like, oh yeah, okay, it's starting to become more of a common theme. That must be nice.
That is nice, and yeah, I feel like we're kind of on the similar path to a lot of other artists who are seeing it as like a means to an end, and hopefully there's like a sort of at least some boundaries that we can all put into our lives or something, and just like accountability to it.
But one thing that I think is really cool, especially, you know, living with you, Danielle, and seeing you, we had this conversation about fake fame. It was deep in the pandemic, and you, like, with this album, we really wanted to make our songs more vulnerable and more about us, rather than like pointing a finger or preaching or just like, hey, that was a sweet party, but it never happened. And for us, we really, really wanted the lyrics to be something that, like, Danielle is actually, she did herself, or she experienced herself, and she's singing about, and we're hoping that brings a lot of sincerity around this record. And so even though fake fame just sounds like a little title or like a topic like that, it actually came out from Danielle during the pandemic, deleting all her socials off her phone, because we weren't on cycle, we didn't have to use it for the band. And she just she took them off her phone, didn't have access to them, and just kind of lived present. So it kind of is a deeper song for us in a way.
And how long of a period did you go for before you kind of went back?
6 months or something.
Wow.
I didn't actually track it, but it was a long time. But you know what's funny is that even still, I took them off my phone, and Drew's phone's sitting there, and I'm like, going on.
And
it's hard.
And then as soon as we started doing recording the record, I was like, Danielle, you have to put them on your phone, because we need to use them.
I had anxiety around that though, because I think we're just like human beings are, we love to compare ourselves to other people. It's just the thing of it. It's like
We'll never go away.
the most successful people that we really respect, like we often have heard them say, like, I just had horse blinders and I just didn't care what other people were doing. In fact, like so many people, how many stories are there where it's like someone had like 10 people like high in the music industry tell them like, you'll never make it, you should quit. And then it's like Elvis Presley. It's like, wow, okay. You know, there's many stories like that. So it's funny. I feel like with like social media, like I often was just like, I need to be doing more. I need to be this and that and all of it. And like horse blinders, I'm like, oh, I need more of that, like to not think about other people's story, but what's my own story and what's my own voice and how do I express that? So when I had to put them, or when I did put them back on, I was like, okay, I just need to like care less about what other people are doing and think more about my own story.
And then you put the social media on, and then it's like vaccines, masks.
Yeah.
Like, oh
You're
my
wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Yeah.
Then that ugly side comes up again.
Insanity. And I think that's like, I've been on a tear recently on this subject of like the internet and technology and stuff, is that I feel like as people, our worlds are too big, and we talk about stuff that we have zero influence over, and we debate stuff that have like we'll never be able to change or do anything about, except for do a post and get some of our friends to side with us. And I think it's chaotic because we're less present. You know, I can get wrapped up in this other world, and then I can go down my street there and see my neighbors who are just like, I have this small little world here. You know, even though we're in a band, even though we travel, but we still can only be in one place at one time. You know?
Mm-hmm. So, okay, the new song, it's coming out. It's coming out. Is it fair to say that this new album, which is the third record, right? LP3, I think I saw you describe it as, deeply personal compared to others?
Yeah.
All the way through?
Yeah.
I think so.
Totally.
I think we definitely wrote more out of our own experiences.
We haven't released the track listing, but one song's called Relationship Problems. One song's called like Heavy Hearts. And I think that like, those are just like, I think there's 12 songs on the album, and there's, I tell people, I'm like, when you hear the single, you'll be like, oh yeah, it sounds like same old Dear Rouge. But the other part that we wanted to do is get the other songs, the other album tracks to be full-fledged album tracks, rather than just other singles that didn't make it to the radio. And I feel like those are the bands that I love. And we just really, really tried hard to like make that body of work for us. That's expressing different sides of ourselves that we haven't before.
So I'm curious, I think you had said on Phases, if I remember correctly, I think it was Stolen Days was kind of the song that kind of kicked off, was maybe the first ones kind of ready for Phases and kind of shaped the album. Was there one song in particular that kind of helped get you going in the direction for this one?
Totally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know, are you going to say the same answer as me?
Well, I think it'd be
Yeah, Give Me Spirit. Yeah.
Okay.
We're on the same page. You can jump in, but we were writing for the record, and we had a bunch of songs that were cool. We showed some of our friends, and they're like, oh yeah, this is cool, this is vibey. And they just felt like songs, you know? And, it kind of like we would, as a band, you send your songs that you're writing to the label, because they have to like basically be like, okay, let's make an album. Here's the
they're like writing the checks.
Yeah, here's the checkbook. And everyone said it was fine and it was good, but this being our third album, like it really needs to be special for us. And you know, we hope that we can be a band that stays around for a long time. And the label felt the same way too. So as painful it was, we were nudging and pushing back and forth. And we felt like we had a fine group of songs. And then we it was super cold here. And we had like a month writing session with the producer who we did the first album with. And Danielle and I work really well when there's a third party there, because we're married and it helps us like sort our feelings. We're on our best behavior, have like, you know, have 2 against 1 in different scenarios. You know, it's a lot more productive. And we wrote a song called Give Me Spirit. And it kind of became the epicenter of the song, and it was kind of just us being comfortable with like who we are, what type of music we like. And the song, there's a lyric in the song that says, "Take me back to why we started in the first place." And I think that's where we, after writing a bunch of new songs, trying to make this album really special, maybe you could feel that in the songwriting, that we were trying really hard. And Give Me Spirit kind of felt like this effortless of like, why did we start Dear Rouge in the first place? Like, what type of band did we want to be? You know, if ourselves like 10 years ago saw us right now, what would they say to us? You know, are you in the right trajectory? Are you doing it? And that song kind of, because it was with that first producer, it kind of felt like it took us 10 years to write, because it had all the backstories and we were all a part of each other's lives. And then as soon as that song came around, the label's like, yes, everybody's like, yeah, here we go. Mm-hmm. And then we wrote a bunch of more songs after that, but it was kind of the turning point of the album of everybody on our team saying like, okay, this is you guys. This is great. We can't wait to show people this.
That's amazing. So when can we expect an announcement soon?
Of the album?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
Ish,
we have a habit.
Ish.
We have a habit of like not. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just. This is why you play live shows. Is that we just like blow stuff from stage, and it's like you're not playing by the rules. There will be a formal announcement, but let me be broad yet specific.
2 years.
We're gonna. Yeah,
2 years.
We are. We're releasing a depth song on the album, another song this fall. Just to kind of show the other side of what we were going for.
Oh, cool.
So it's like a really different song. We both sing on it, which is not normal. And then, Christmas will come, and then I think we'll come out with another song to radio and the album early in the front half of the year.
Cool.
So I'm curious with Spirit, if it was the first song that kind of got the ball rolling and got people kind of excited, was there thought of trying to use it as a first single?
We were talking about it, but I think you just like, I don't know, there's just different reasons like for coming out of the gate in a certain way. And I guess for us, we were just like, we want to come out bold and have like not, I don't know. I just felt like we just collectively as a team all decided it was like such a cool way to start. So,
and we also like, a lot of industry people say it doesn't matter when you release it. I think totally opposite. I think it matters, especially nowadays, because 14,000 songs get added to Spotify a day. Mm-hmm. You're in the business of trying to cut through like the noise. And if you release a summer track in the winter, it's not going to work. And so I think the big thing for me is that we're coming back after Labor Day. It's like the new Dear Rouge single. Let's do something that we're very proud of, but people will hear it and be like, oh yeah, that's Dear Rouge. Got grimy bass. We got like the big alternative jam. Give Me Spirit is an alternative jam, but it's like, ideally, if other people feel that it's as special as we feel it is, then next summer we'll be able to play festivals and be able to just blast it on the festival stage, because it truly is that like, that would be the destination that we had in mind when writing it, is that festival stage and wanting people to sing along with us.
Well, not that they were able to sing along with you this past weekend, but you did play at a festival, the Together Again outdoor concert series in Edmonton. You did play did you play the new single? Did you play a couple new songs?
We played 3 songs.
We played 3 new songs. Yeah, we played 3 new songs. We've just been playing them live because we're tired. We want to play new stuff, and it's like we don't know when we're gonna get another like festival or live concert again. So we're like, depending on what happens in the world. So we're just like, let's try it out and see how it connects with people. And it's been really fun. Like I love. And we started with a new song called Face Down. And that was really cool. And then, we did two
Danny's also playing guitar and acoustic more on this record. But there's a lot of acoustic, even in the fast songs and slow songs. And you'll hear in the Fake Fame song, the bridge is all acoustic, even though it's like a faster song. But that has been just so fun for a live set. Danielle playing acoustic and keys. It allows her to be like full-fledged lead singer, like commanding the crowd, to also internal.
It's new, like it's a new way to communicate the song, so it's good.
And you guys had a good time on Sunday? Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, it was still a little bit strange because there's there was tables
Yeah.
set up, but I thought that they did a really amazing job for what they were able to do, and like people were so ready to dance, and everybody was invested who was there, so that was amazing. Yeah, like grandson couldn't come because he had COVID and then couldn't cross the border, which was too bad. We were really we're really big fans of his, but yeah, but it was really fun, and like I cannot wait for the next festival. This festival season is the best. Like there's just so much love we have because we just get to see all the bands that we appreciate. And
you're festival vets too, right? I mean, you guys have been doing festivals for
that's like
damn near a decade.
I'm curious. It's always something I love at festivals when you see an act on stage and then you can see the other acts on the bill that are there watching from side stage. And Grandson's one. I remember the first time I saw Grandson, like almost every band that was on the bill, you could see were watching what was going on with Grandson.
That's a good
but
sign.
like, I'm curious because you did the video with Jay walking up to the stage to see Kaisa. There was an instant story of that. When you're there side stage, are you like, are you music fans again, or are you like, oh, they're using that amp, or oh, they've got their kick placed over here? Like, do you analyze a little bit more, or do you actually get to watch as a fan?
It
depends. Actually,
that's a really good question, and we're fans of all these bands, but it depends on the band. I think it's a bit of everything.
If they have a nostalgic side to them for us personally, then like we will love it just to be fans. But if they're like bands that we are like, ooh, how are they doing this? And like I've never heard of them, and like I love this, what's their gear? Then you kind of go into that mode a little more.
That's exactly right.
It depends.
If there's a nostalgic tinge to it, there's kind of a like, where's all the drinks? Let's have fun.
Yeah.
If there's like another band that like Grandson is like just blowing up and coming, is like, what are you doing on stage? How are you doing it? How can we do the same thing but in our own way?
Yeah.
Well, just how can you learn from them? Because it's like such a community thing. Like everybody shares their tips and tricks and stuff too, because it's like it takes so much effort to get everything dialed and for you to feel like really good about your set. So
yeah,
that's a good question though.
That's
one of our best experiences was it was in Edmonton. Well, Edmonton and Calgary shared like a bill. This was like
Sonic and X Fest.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Sonic and X Fest.
And Jack White was on the bill, and like a lot of like
Arctic Monkeys, Cage the Elephant,
people.
Oh shit! I forgot Arctic Monkeys were there. Yeah.
Was Dashboard? Was it or Death Cab? Was it Death Cab was on before? Or am I thinking of another year?
Weezer there one year too? I think.
Yeah.
I want to say Death Cab was there one year, but
this was actually our first festival.
Yeah. So, but
I remember that.
Go side stage, and like even Jack White was just everyone was really chill. It was such a good vibe, and we got to be backstage, side stage for him, and that was amazing because all the gear, like the organist. He had like 6 or 7 keyboards around him, mainly playing like a Rhodes kind of thing in an organ, but he had like multiple keyboards, and he was just like smoking like a chimney, and he was just sitting there, and we were like closest to him, like this big black guy who was like really, really into it. It was amazing. And then like just the musicianship was incredible, and it was just amazing. We were so inspired. So I love that kind of thing. It's the best.
Was that the tour that he switched night to night? Like it was an all-female band the one night and then an all-male band the next night? Was that the tour? And it was the male band.
He switched between Calgary and Edmonton?
I believe it was from night to night. It was a different band that was backing him.
Well, that was the, what album is that? Lazaretto.
Was it Lazaretto?
Blunderbuss.
Yeah. Blunderbuss or Lazaretto?
Oh,
I think
it was all blue. Blunderbuss.
Was it? Yeah, whatever.
There'll be somebody else.
Was Lazaretto the single of Blunderbuss?
No.
Lazaretto was on Lazaretto. Somebody will fact check and put it across the screen.
All that matters is we got to see Jack White.
That's right. Yeah,
that's all that matters.
Exactly. It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Do you often get to go to? Obviously, not in the last year and a half, but do you get to go to festivals just as festival goers?
We pull in a card. Like if there's a band we really want to see, we'll talk to the promoters and say, hey, we want to show up, hang out. And a lot of times they'll be like pretty chill. Like we don't want to like overextend our welcome, but we're all in the same industry together.
We've gone to Coachella like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
What was it? 3 times.
Yeah.
It just says Page. Like,
In-
well,
in
what
the
time I
States-
hopped the fence, basically.
In the States, it feels special because we feel like we're pre-band life, when we had
Yeah.
Dear Rouge, and feels like we're just fan. I think that's really important for bands to be in. We in Canada though, we get to play. We're fortunate enough to get to play all the festivals and see a lot of the bands coming through, which is really cool. Anytime there's a big festival, like if we play Osheaga, I think every time we've played Osheaga, we stay the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And we put up all our crew and all our team, and we say like, we'll cover all expenses, but we're not gonna like pay you to be at the festival.
Yeah.
But we'll do the shows and stuff like that, and then we all just like hang out and just see bands and spend the weekend in Montreal. And every time it's insane. It's so good.
Did you play Pemberton?
We did not play Pemberton.
I think it shut down the year after we kind of came out. It was like done.
No, they had one
Or the year
after that we missed,
before.
but we played Squamish instead of
It was
Pemberton.
a
Oh,
good
okay.
I heard it was good. Squamish was amazing, and I heard they were kind of similar in their vibe.
I was at Pemberton I had to search it up today, but it was 2014. So I don't know if it was the first or second year that they came back, because they only pop back up for another like 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah.
But I was there when I was working for X in Calgary, and kind of milling about, the press area. I met a guy named Alex Wider, who was one of the nicest dudes I've ever met in my life. And then I searched you guys up over the last couple of days, and I saw a pretty decent article about him launching this High Tide Artists company. Is that new?
He just emailed
Tim, yeah.
you the proper links.
Oh, well, excellent.
He's one of the people that is helping out with social media and management, and he's kind of co-managing with us. The management conversation with bands these days is really tricky, because if you're very hands-on stylistically, essentially they just become a middle person who you give commission to.
Right.
And as long as you can be unemotional and be able to like not be a pain in the ass to deal with the label, it's way better for your band. You're tied to every decision, and the label likes it even more because they don't have to like sort information through a middleman.
Yeah.
And so we brought Alex on with us to co-manage, so that there could be that person who the label could talk to apart from us, like on some creative stuff.
Does that stuff interest you guys?
Oh.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
very much. Yeah,
There's a lot of bands like Sheepdogs, Tokyo Police Club. There's a lot of bands who are doing the self-managed, but they hire someone to come in with them. And
Yeah.
Alex is that guy. And he is the nicest guy in the world. He loves touring, so he travels with us everywhere. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think when I met him, he was still writing for that music review, or I don't know if it was a website or a zine or something, but
Like a
Yeah.
blogger kind of.
Yeah, Vancouver Music Review.
yeah, I just saw his name and beautiful face pop up on my computer today. I was like, oh my
And
God,
that was-
I haven't talked to that guy in like years.
That was a chance meeting with him 7
yeah, we
years
hung
ago.
out a bunch that weekend. It was great. It's
That's
fantastic.
sweet.
Yeah, and I love hearing all of this stuff. Like one of the goals I had for the podcast was just to give people a glimpse, a little bit behind the scenes of what actually goes on and how it all works. So I find it fascinating that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing when you're in it, and what people view of it on the outside. It's like a fully different experience, it is interesting. Like there's so many just interworkings.
Yeah, it's especially coming
Hardcore.
from radio. Where
Yeah,
it's-
you
you're-
guys are similar in that way, right? Because a lot of people are like, they have an idea of what you do.
They
but
just
then
see the surface of it. They just see
Yeah.
the surface. You don't get to see what it all takes to make it all.
Yeah, you want to talk about middlemen.
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
So
Go ahead, Pete.
I can kind of see a shelf in behind you. This is like a really personal question, but where's the Juno? Like, is the Juno on display somewhere? Do you guys have it?
Do a little tour.
Yeah.
So we have the Blue Jays game down here, and then there's a tennis girl.
It's not
There's
playing. It's like a horse ad.
Semi-final. This is our cabin. We live in the suburbs. We just got a dog yesterday.
Yeah,
Well,
we wanna know
definitely
about
we want
that.
to meet the dog for sure. But
And then we have like guest room studio.
Oh my God.
And this was from an
look at
Airbnb host in Toronto. That when we were recording our album, he took that photo in Argentina and he gave it to us, and we put it back.
That's incredible.
that is amazing.
And there's the Juno right beside the desk, so that we
Oh yeah.
I can't even see if I'm seeing it tucked in there.
Tucked in behind there.
so
There it
that-
is. Yeah.
So that if we when we're writing, we know that okay, we gotta work hard.
Is it like? Is it validation sometimes if it's
Bigsby.
there it is.
So
Oh, my
Bigsby Roscoe,
goodness.
that's the name?
Oh, wow.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
he's cute, right?
Oh yeah.
Two
He's
musical.
named after a gear.
Yeah, two musical terms. We'll call him Bigsby, but if you don't want to, like, you have a middle name that you can just give, and if you like something that you gotta like, I don't know. Nobody has to call him by his middle name, but.
So wait, what are the terms then?
So Bigsby is on a guitar. It's an old-fashioned whammy bar.
Oh, okay.
That's built on it.
Yeah.
I'll show you one. I'll grab my guitar. And then Roscoe, do you want to tell him Roscoe?
Drew is a really big fan of a band that has a song. Drew is called Roscoe, right?
The song's called Roscoe. The band is Midlake.
Yeah.
In Texas.
Okay, so a band from Texas called Midlake that he loves, and one of the songs is called Roscoe,
Sweet.
and it's a good.
This
Okay, yeah.
Bigsby. And it's like an old patent that they would put here to do the whammy bar. In the 80s, they put it inside the guitar like Fender did. But Fender actually has to buy the Bigsby patent to put on their guitar. So you don't see a lot of guitars with it. So this is like a standard telly.
Yeah.
But with this, it makes it feel like, awesome.
Is that your number one guitar?
This used to be my number
This is
one.
like first guitar that he really used.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I loved it. We used it early stages Deer Rouge, and it was red, so everyone's like, "Whoa, sweet, red." But it's not my number one anymore.
His number one is
A Jazz Master.
a Jazzmaster, like an Elvis Costello one.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Like wood. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that earlier in a picture. It's a nice Jazz Master
And-
for sure.
How many of them are there in the house, Danielle? Guitars.
Oh my gosh, I'm like losing track of how many guitars we have now.
We
How many do you think we have, Drew?
I think
In
we
the house at the moment, there's like 5 or 6.
and then there's probably like 5 or 6 in the office space. We have an office
Like a
space in
practice
Richmond,
space
out by
that
the
we-
airport.
Very nice. Very nice.
And now a dog added to the mix. So where did you get Bigsby? What made you decide to go with that pup?
Oh, yeah.
What-
Oh,
was a fan.
It's a girl that we're like I've known. I knew when I was younger. She's breeding puppies, and it's called YQL Doodles, and really sweet people. And I was like, we were messaging back and forth, and she's like, actually, we have this dog available. Long story short, I was like, we will bring him everywhere. He'll just be like the mascot, and it'll be so fun to like have a little guy running around. And it was like kind of a fast thing. It was like in a year, I was like, let's just do it. Like so much is unknown. We don't know. And if we go on a bus or something, he'll just come and like, it'll be easy to like dump him on Alex Wider.
Yeah.
So we're having fun. It's just, it's cool because we live like next to a lake too. So it's like
perfect.
pretty easy to have a dog running around.
How old
And
is he?
He's
3
12 weeks. Like he's 13 weeks old now.
Very exciting.
And how's the puppy training is going well? Are there little accidents all over the place, or?
There was a little poop in our room. That wasn't awesome, but that was one. He's really well trained. Like they've already trained him almost. It's kind of weird. They do this thing called puppy culture, and they kind of train them how to do like a lot of things pre-giving them to their new owners. So he's kennel trained and all the things. That's like pretty amazing.
Yeah,
Do you guys have dogs? Like, are you dog lovers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
Both have dogs?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Right.
have a 4.5 pound Chihuahua.
Oh.
I have a 100-pound Husky Shepherd mix.
Nice.
They are
So-
not friends.
They're quite opposite.
Wow.
Couldn't be more opposite.
That's hilarious.
That's cute.
Big fan of dogs, and Bigsby looks like a champ.
So next time you roll through Red Deer, we can meet
Yeah.
Bigsby face to
He'll
face.
be there.
Okay,
he'll
good.
be with us.
Yeah, I'm bummed that we can't be in person. We were in and out on the weekend, and it was like, yeah.
It's all good. I mean, well, we definitely want to show you this space sometime when you're in town and things are a little easier and cleaner out
Yeah.
there. But
Because Brennan hasn't rolled you through here over the
No,
summer at all
we-
when you guys were in
no.
it? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We might be coming there though, like during the holiday season. Coming
Or in
up here,
October.
Yeah.
So
It would
definitely
be,
stop in and say hi.
we have
Yeah,
a
have
giant green screen wall.
Woo,
You
that
guys
We
sounds
could just
have some
put like
fun
a
on if you
giant
want.
BIGSBY, like
Yeah.
just the dog could just take up the whole.
Yeah. Do you have a song about a dog that you could perform on the green
Yeah.
screen?
Well, maybe we should write one now.
We need to write one.
Yeah.
Our next whole album will be a concept album.
There's have you listened to Sturgill Simpson's new album?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys listen to Sturgill Simpson at all?
I love that answer. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't like it?
No,
Oh.
not this one.
Okay. Anyways, there's a song about a dog that passes away on the album. And it's,
Oh, really?
You didn't
I mean,
get that far then.
It sounds sad as hell, anyways. So.
Sad.
It's interesting. I've never had an inside dog ever. I grew up in the suburbs, and we always had like a big lab, just like a mutt, and they're awesome. But having an inside dog is like totally different. So Danny always wanted an inside dog, and I was like, no. And then these people were like, we got a dog for you. Danny's like, it's happening. I'm like, okay. So Bigsby's here, and I'm pumped about it.
How many? You just got the dog?
Yesterday,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Have fun. This is gonna be a great time.
yeah.
He's awesome. Like, so how long does it take to feel like everything's kind of just moving? Like where it's like there's routines.
You don't want that answer.
Well,
Well, it might be different for the
yeah.
Chihuahua, but I can tell you my
I mean, if you're working at it, then routine isn't necessarily the problem. But in like a year, is when he doesn't give a shit about routine, right? Because you'll go through like a little teenage time,
Mhm.
something like that, where if he's feeling a little sassy, he might break the rules here and there. But yeah, if you're working on it, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
it was great. Mine's like, so he was probably about 2.5 before he actually kind of like settled, what I would call settled down. But we were camping just a couple of weeks ago, and he got a case of the zoomies like he did when he was a puppy. And it was just amazing to see this 100-pound dog. We were out by a rivers, and he's just zooming back and forth up and down the beach. And then there's a little bit of sand, and he just start digging and then zooming. But he doesn't do that too much anymore. But for the first couple of years, yeah.
I love the zoomies. They're the best.
Yeah, it's the best time of the day.
Uninhibited dog joy.
That's so funny.
You got to join in
We
sometime.
all get the zoomies a little more. Like we should get the zoomies.
I was just going to say, we could all use to get the zoomies a little bit more.
We could
for sure.
use it right now. Yeah.
Sounds illegal.
Let's get some zoomies, guys.
We've had zoomies. Actually, I feel like we could call it zoomies in Victoria. It was like the last show of our tour, our Phases tour. And we got Roman candles, and we had like a Roman candle war in the middle of the street, like downtown Victoria.
That's amazing.
We were running back and forth, shooting each other with Roman candles. And it was like goes down as one of the funniest.
The most epic tour
And
moments.
there was
ever.
there was a little dog, like, and an owner like walking, trying to have like a peaceful walk that night, and they like encountered this like firework war. There's smoke like everywhere. It was amazing.
That sounds incredible.
It was like a tiny little
Last
white
night on tour,
poodle and his master, and they were like running around.
we our crew on the road, we lucked out and just have this like fun bunch of people, and nobody's pretentious, nobody's pompous. Everybody is like hardworking, but we're also kind of weird as well because you spend so much time traveling together, and so but professional too, So we're not gonna like go crazy, but we just love to have a good time, and I don't think of us like we're not like a super edgy or like badass band that's like playing gigs. We just like to have a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and it's really sweet. So one time when we're playing a show, you guys can come and hang out.
Well, you just made me realize that that's something I've always wanted to do and never have, is like have a Roman candle war with people.
I was gonna say it's
That
like,
I know.
Like we have this guy that's down for anything that comes with us every once in a while named Brennan, and he was the one that suggested it, and he also suggested laser tag. Well, actually, I suggested it, and it was the only person in the crew that was like, let's do it. So he's obviously like down to do weird things, but it was really worth it, and I highly recommend
We should do that.
Oh, I'm totally
shooting
game.
people with
I'm
flames.
game.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Downtown Red Deer.
I'm sure it's been done in Red Deer before. I am 100% sure of that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Do you guys
It's
have any,
probably-
like, what do you guys do passing the time in the van with the crew? Like, it sounds like you got a fun bunch. So are there any van games that you do to pass the time?
We, I guess because we like to have a good time, usually it means that we have like pretty chill mornings. So we kind of like mornings are like pretty chill in the van. But one thing that we do is we, after a gig, you can all get in the band. You can get in the van and you want to talk about the show. You want to talk about how you could play better. But it's also difficult because as a band, especially if you're touring a lot, you're only talking about the last 10%. 90% of the time, even if we feel it's a bad show, it still is a good show. We just need to keep that positivity. So rather than just like hopping in the van, ripping apart the set and getting too detailed into it, we crank like 90s hip hop jams. And we all just like stand up and dance. And we play like old covers. We like laugh at
Well, my favorite song that we listen to and all get really into is Africa by Toto. And it's just like, that's like one of the times I've laughed the hardest with us.
Yeah. There'll be YouTube clips, but that's kind of how it'll go. We'll like wake up in the morning on say we have a long drive, wake up in the morning, go get coffee, gas. Everyone kind of has their own little bit, and then we have lunch, and then everyone chills a little bit, and then there'll be some YouTube clips,
Right.
And then if we start like laughing, then like if it's a long drive, we'll all drink in the van except for the driver.
Right.
True.
Yeah,
That's not true.
no,
We'll put a disclaimer that's untrue or something. We'll do something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not true, but we drink in the van when we're.
True.
So
Not the driver. It's only $40 fine for open alcohol.
Oh my gosh.
It's a podcast. It's fine.
True. We sound like Lugans.
Yeah, no, we're not degenerates by any means.
No, just shooting fireworks at each other.
Yeah,
drinking in
Roman
the van.
candle battles.
You guys are just the purest
young
of
and
angels.
Now I want to ask about your thoughts on like if you from afar, because I know that Danielle, you haven't lived in Red Deer for a long time, right? You've been gone for like a decade or more.
Yeah, more like
And-
13 years.
Right. Have you paid attention to like what I would imagine to be any sort of music evolution or live music evolution in Red Deer in your hometown?
Yeah, like I definitely think through Brennan and Bose, I feel that that's like the spark in the city. Like because I started out playing music like basically at my local church that I went to there and the VAT.
Right.
There wasn't anything there. Like it was sad. There wasn't even festivals around that I could really go to as a young person and be like, these bands are high end. Like I remember like Calgary Stampede, I guess would be like, I saw Chaos there and Our Lady Peace and things. And I was in like my younger teen years.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it feels like there's stuff going on. Like Bose to me, anytime I bring it up, or like I was, for instance, we were in Toronto doing our record at Taurus Studios, and someone came in wearing
Dave Monks.
Bose merch. Yeah, Dave Monks came in wearing Bose stuff, and I was like, "What? That's amazing!" I was so stoked because like Tokyo Police is a legit band, and anytime I talk to like Canadian artists who have come through Red Deer, Bose is always like a highlight for them, and they get treated really well, and it just makes me really proud.
You essentially added, well, especially because Bose does it so well that like medium-sized tours in Canada will stop. It gives an extra stop.
Yeah.
And sometimes you try to make an extra stop. Like we've played Better Than Fred's in Prince George, which is still pretty good because they have a pub and a stage and they're doing it well. But like the fact that they added a venue in Red Deer for us to play it, every musician we talk to in Canada, like all our peers are like, that's amazing. So it kind of has this nationwide impact.
So there is a venue that's amazing in Red Deer, but have you guys been like noticing a lot more artistry, like young artists coming up in Red Deer then?
Well, I've been here a long time, so I've seen evolution of it. So, you've kind of seen one group of them kind of come and go. And I don't know if you remember Oldbury, if they were around kind of back in the day when you were in town. But so I've seen a couple of different generations of it come. And I think right now is maybe the best it's ever been and diverse.
Hey, that's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's some incredible
After you
talent.
yeah, if there's any bands you guys think I should check out from Red Deer, I'd love to hear, or any bands I want to reach out to us. It's always nice to hear from locals that are doing a lot, like trying to go for it too, because you do need a lot of guidance. Like I had no idea what to do. Inner Story was really interesting how it all came about, but
And I'm trying to remember. So I wasn't involved in music at the time, but I do remember you sending. I'm pretty sure you sent solo tapes to Big 105 back in the day. Like that would have been
I
pretty.
had a project called L. I had a project early days called Gates Ave, which is super cool. And then I had a project called L. So that both of them showed how like a lack of. Like, I definitely was always writing songs and pursuing and, like, trying to figure it out. And I was, like, brave with it. So I'd always be like, yeah, I'm an artist. I got this. But, like, the music showed that I didn't have a lot of influences in my life or guidance. Like, I really got taken advantage of a lot as, like, a young artist. So I always feel for people who don't have any idea, especially women, too. Like, I find a lot of women, because it's very like, driven. It's there's definitely, like, 1 to 10. That's I'm a minority all of the time, and even producers and everything, like it's just really sparse still. So I often like find like women artists who are on their own that don't have any idea what to do. So it's like, it's interesting.
Well, it's sad to think about all the women specifically who have immense talent, unreal creativity of, put together amazing art, and then are, experience bullshit like what you're talking about, and it just dissuades them from pursuing it at all.
It's true, because it really is like a soul sucker when you're like, I remember having these feelings of like, I am just too gullible. I can't do this. This is like cutthroat. People are just trying to take advantage, or like specifically the people that I was working with, it just felt like I didn't have any coaching or whatever. But now I just feel like all of my story is helping me to help other people. And I'm in Deer Rouge where like, I really was at the point where I was like, I'm giving up on doing music. So it's true what you're saying.
Damn. What was kind of shocking to me not too long ago is we had a high school student, I want to say from Notre Dame, come in, and we had brought her into the radio station. She was going to record a version of O Canada that the Rebels could use during games during lockdown. So I was talking to her mom while she was recording. Her voice was absolutely amazing, and so she was, I think 17. And I was asking, what are they doing? Does she have social media? She'd been recording stuff, and her mom's like, yeah, we're kind of getting into it, but we feel like we might be too late to the party. And I'm like, she's 7, but it's sad that thought is out there that at 17 you've already missed the boat.
Yeah,
I think because I grew up in a suburb as well, and I think that destination is huge for inspiring artists. And so the fact that there's Bose, the fact that there's like you guys, the fact that there is like radio stations or different accessibility to different genres, and to be successful, it drives it. But like if that person is like, she's 17, feels like she can't go anymore or miss the boat, and it's like, oh my gosh, like when we hit with Deer Rouge, it was both of our like third project.
Yeah.
We needed all that stuff before.
I was like, we were in our mid-20s, and like I really was like, this is our last kind of hope of doing it as a career. So it's pretty cool that So wait,
how long after that point of despair, that like just that negative pit, did you walk away with $102,000?
Yeah.
It's a really amazing story, actually. And I still need to figure out like the short version of it, because it's really long. And I'm often like, what part of it do I tell? Because it's pretty crazy. But it was like a real hit to. I met Drew through the process of getting all this horrible news and just being like taken, like
a failed project with a lot of debt.
Yes.
And then we
got married, and Drew wasn't scared of it, which is really cool.
I always did music because it was fun, and I did it with my friends. And anytime it got too serious, we were like, we didn't have enough plans to do it, and never resolved. So I never had any bitterness. Whereas Danielle grew up in the industry, and it was like making a living.
I had so much identity wrapped up in it, rather than it just being enjoyable and like something I just did because I loved it. I also, see, I'm having a hard time.
It was about a year and a half.
Happened. We were in we took out a loan from the bank. I moved to Vancouver, and I was playing at Blarney Stone, this like Irish pub down in Gastown, I like looked up online like places live music places in Vancouver, and that one popped up, and I reached out to a bunch of other ones, but they were like, yeah, come in. And I got this gig every Tuesday night, and I played acoustic guitar and like covers and my own, but nobody cared about my own. It was always like, play Oasis. So anyway, so I was doing that for a while.
But then
sending money in the mail to this person who we owed money to, and we tried to make it right. We took out a loan, and we were like negotiating to finish it, and we were like youngly new married.
Let me jump in though. So Danielle's doing singer-songwriter stuff, and if you've hung out with Danielle, she can do that, and she can write that type of music. But there's also like, I was puzzled at how come you're not doing like a high energy song where you can run around on stage and like play to a lot of people, you know, like it's really accessible. I was like, I also was in like an indie snob band, and I was kind of like, I want to write like more accessible music, you know, because we play shows and tell everyone it's just about the music, but everyone's like, well, you should move. You should like do something on stage. And so we wrote songs together, and that was like between winning the $102,000. It was like a year and a half. It was a year and a half, and so we had this song.
You're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, year and a half of.
Like from when we wrote a song together to like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it would be like that. That would be the time frame.
Yeah, so we were slowly. Basically, he's saying that we were slowly like. He's like, let's just write something fun. Like while we were dating, we just started writing stuff for fun. He was like, kind of like, just I don't want you to forget about the side of you, like encouraging me, basically, which was really nice of you, Drew.
Aww.
Anyway, so then we got married, and then we had just this EP sitting there from when he was like encouraging us to. So we jumped around. So then I was playing the Blarney Stone stuff, and then sending them money. We took a loan out, and then we like basically finished that chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2 months later, and we were like in debt. We're like, okay, this is gonna suck. Like we have a lot of work to do to dig us out of this. 2 months later, we're like, we see the peak thing, and we're like, let's just see if we can get into it. And then we ended up getting into it, and then we had a conversation, and we were both like, this is crazy. Well, let's just say if we win first place that we'll go after, like we'll do music again, we'll try. And I was like, oh, I'm like anxious. I really didn't think I was gonna be able to do it. Like I was really beat down. So then when we ended up getting first place, I just remember like, is this a Hollywood like Cinderella story or something? Like this feels like too good to be true. Like this is definitely a slow motion, because there's like confetti coming from the roof and a giant check. And literally like I walked out like 4 months later, we were like on our way. It was so, it was one of those moments in life where you're like, this doesn't happen often. This is almost too strange.
But then when people who are listening to this right now or wanting a glimpse behind the scenes, I think one thing that they have to know with artists is that story is crazy, and it's a very big story for us. But there's so many times that like that it's the same. It happens all the time. Like you have to face a lot of adversity in our industry. And so even though we won the $102,000, we actually spent it all to record an album and market it. And we had no money left when our song hit the radio and started taking. So it like multiple times you feel like you're not going to make it. It feels like you're a plane that's just like brushing the ground. and a lot of people don't realize that with bands. Like there's so many emotional journeys that you have to go through to do this.
But it's almost like you have no choice. Like you don't get to choose what you are passionate about. It chooses you, kind of thing. And like, yeah, you have to be okay with the risk-reward ratio. But also there's a lot of like hard work, and there's a lot of like tears. There's a lot of joy. It's like really, and it's not common, so that sometimes you feel lonely, things like that. Like, but you just love it. And to me, I feel like art is a service, and it's for the community. And if you are popular, it means that you shouldn't be getting more of an ego. It's probably the other way around. Or in some ways, back to the fake fame thing, I think then if it becomes about your ego, then it can kind of destroy you a little bit, right? And hurt you, and be like the flip side of the fame conversation. So I think the whole, like, to put a bookend on it, it's almost like get me back to why I started in the first place is almost like telling ourselves, let's get back to like why we love it and who we love in it and how we can be better and how we can, be less about just becoming successful, I guess, and more about like how are we helping people through it. If that doesn't sound too cheesy.
Oh, that's amazing.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Fantastic.
Very, very. I didn't realize that peak project, performance project, whatever it was, kind of came at a pretty serious low, or the result of some serious lows in a short period of time.
It was. Yeah. I think I don't know. I just feel like this time around with the Dear Rouge stuff, I think we're just gonna basically try harder to tell our personal stories and be more open about like how hard it can be doing music, but how amazing it is and how you just basically don't have a choice in it as well. Just chooses you, that whole thought.
Well, I can't wait to hear the record.
I'm honestly, as much as I'm enjoying this chat, you've just kind of brought it full circle, and I know that the song is sitting right here, right now.
Thanks, Alex. I do have to ask before anything you guys have been listening to lately that you want to mention.
Oh yeah.
The young artist that you love.
Oh yeah, there's this new one of the guys from Vampire Weekend that quit to produce. He produced this young girl named Claro.
Oh yeah, that record's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really good. She came out with a new album that's like totally different. Yeah, we've been listening to that a lot. It's tough when we get this question because
I like Phoebe Bridgers.
We listen to a lot of chill music because we spend so much time creating higher energy music. Does that make sense? Like,
of course.
Sometimes especially because we love listening to music, but we also don't want to think about it too much. Like Krugabin, the instrumental band from Waco, Texas, they're like one of our top played.
Krugabin.
Krugabin, KHU blah 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 blah.
Okay.
And it's a 3-piece from Waco, Texas. That's like essentially a jam band.
Cool.
And you put it on anytime we have a party. We put on. Everyone's like, "Who is this?" And we're like, "It's Krugabin. It's incredible."
All right, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have fun tonight and tomorrow, and with Billy.
Try to just
say hi to Billy for us.
Relax.
No big deal.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Yeah, of course. It was a pleasure.
Woo.
Bye. Peace.
See you guys. Man, they're just delightful. I don't know a better word to describe. And
nice folks.
And that dog.
BIGSBY Roscoe.
I cannot wait to meet BIGSBY.
Shout out to Dear Rouge for joining us on this week's episode of The Road the Stage, recorded and produced by Ryan and Ryley at Communal Creative Studios in Red Deer, Alberta.
And brought to you by...
God damn it.
Take two.
Go Services, Inc.
Sawback Brewing.
Bose Barn Stage.
Tourism Red Deer.
I'm not reading this off a screen. Yeah, that was great. That was a lot of fun. So,
and we will get them in here, and in person. We have it on tape. They invited us to hang.
And you sent them the money, so.
They invited us to hang.
And you sent them the money.
And I sent them the money. We're there, we're in, we're good.
Subscribe to the Bose Barn Stage YouTube channel where you can watch all of the Road the Stage episodes. And if you do that, that's great. Thank you so much. Otherwise, rate and review us on Apple.
Now, we don't say this just to hear ourselves talk.
On Apple.
Just do it. Like, if you do it. If you enjoyed what you just heard, just do it. It's not like...
I did it.
I've done it too.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Fun.
Welcome and goodbye. From The Road the Stage, episodes every...
Wednesday.
The Road the Stage is produced by Ryan Kuly and Ryley Surian at the Communal Creative Studios in Red Deer, Alberta. In partnership with Go Services Inc., Sawback Brewing Co., Tourism Red Deer, and Bose Barn Stage.